Evening all, welcome back to an interesting one. Floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. There we go. Running a slightly shitter fit today. Well, no, it's my scout suit's a fit. Having a real blast. I kind of like this map, and let me tell you why I think this has become my map. This is one of the hated maps because it's the one with that underground bit, which is again terrible map design. Who the flipping heck is designing these maps? Because and I'm not going to be nice to you anymore because these just suck. I don't get why they do this. It just doesn't make any sense, lol. That, you know, you just have these kind of maps where you kind of got to go through a narrow point, and then once you're in there, you've got the high ground. It's like, dude, that's not terribly fair. Why would you do that? I reckon, this is just a thought, they should not put the point on Dom here underneath in the hangar. They should put it on the train, because fighting around that train might have been a better idea. I don't know. There we go. Anyway, what can you do? Loving the game at the moment, having huge amounts of fun, shooting people. Look at them, just doing circuits at the moment. All I do is, I love this map particularly because you can do the real hunter kind of lone wolf nonsense above the point with this fit, and I think it works rather well. It's certainly a lot of fun. Huge amounts of fun to be had still with the Flaylock. Not sure about the other guns, but we'll see. And I've decided I'm going to save the very last week of dust. I'm going to use my solars. My solar Flaylocks, whatever they are, and looking forward to giving them a go. Apparently they've got 6 rounds in the shell, in the chambers. Exciting stuff, eh? So if you have any solars you want to donate, hint bro, then give them to Sierra Paris Clone. Thank you very much. Anyway, fun times to be had, fun times going on. As you can see, this fit defies logic at times because it's just pretty good. It works. It kind of works. So, you know, exciting stuff. I actually thought that was an officer suit. I got all excited and squeed in channel. It's an officer suit. And I was told, actually, no, it's not. It had a skin on it, apparently. I didn't know that. Apparently, what I saw was one of the Caldari skins, which is pretty cool. So there we go. Post in the comments. Tell me how many times you've made that mistake. I bet it's more than you're betting, but there we go. So we go. Look, running into a heavy with no tank whatsoever. Now that takes balls. Balls of steel. That's all I can say. If you haven't tried this fit yet, you must, because it is hilariously fun. You need probably mouse and keyboard to get the most out of it, but to be honest, some of you are so good with a controller, you would have no problem whatsoever. As long as you could just change direction quickly and keep running, you're going to do just fine. But there we go. Now, funny, talking about maps, this one map was probably one of those maps that I just think was such a great idea. It was such an own goal that it kind of wasn't included, and then when it was, it didn't really work. I think they could have done so much more with this one, because that train there is pretty nice. Oh my god, Jogging. Having that train there is pretty cool, but they never really do anything with it, so that's kind of a shame. And I think just having the hangar and the complex around it, it did work. It made sense. And I think, you know, an interesting concept was brought to light in the game, which was, if only for one thing they could do before they switch the game off, it would be great just to switch the red line off. Now, I know that's very game-breaking and problematic, but just think, as I choke myself, just think how much fun that could have been to have the red line switched off just for a week. And then you could have seen the game in much more of a context of an open world game. So you could go and look around the maps. You'd have to go and hunt for dudes. I like the thought of that. I think they could have done a whole game mode there with an ambush, but just with a massive map. That might have been quite interesting. I would have been excited for that. I would have loved to have seen something like that. But sadly, no. There we go. You know, in fact, funny point, I think vehicles might have actually been needed if you'd have had these kind of open world maps. And by the way, this is my no tank scout suit fighting a tank. It's not going to end well, is it? But there we go. So, you know, it's funny really, because a lot of people seem to have liked the idea of having no red line. So if you imagine there, look at all that red line there, imagine how much fun that could have been. And I'm not saying get rid of the red line on the enemy side, so you can't just sit underneath their spawn point. You know, I'm not saying that at all, but it would have been nice to have the peripheries of the map having no red line. Surely, bro. And that would have been pretty fun. I subscribe to that point and think it would have. So we go. Now, I have swapped out my my scout suit just because I want to kill that tank. No, not an easy task, I might include, but it's definitely quite interesting, particularly when this tanker runs as soon as a single shot is taken. But then again, never mind, he's done. Oh, you gotta love it, haven't you? Now, I think definitely loving the the kind of concept that you could have just an ambush which isn't a meat grinder because you're so close to each other. It would have been nice to have had hunter-killer gangs or something like that. That might have been pretty cool, but anyway, too late now. Too late. No news on the was it Dust 2.0 Eve Revenant calling it now? Nothing at all. I don't know anything. It's all still very, very quiet indeed in terms of what's going on, who's around, who's leading it, what's going on. Is Rouge in charge? Is Rattati in charge? At this particular point, which is what, the 5th of March, nobody knows anything. Nobody knows a thing, which is a shame because it would be nice to kind of hear a bit of news. By the time this video is out, it's soon FanFest, so I'm sure we're going to hear something there as well. But yeah, I think it would have been nice just to have any bit of news, just to even just say the game is going to be this, the game might be that, this could be what we do. I know they can't, but it just kind of bothers me. I hate being teased and tempted. I don't like it. Like a very annoying first date when you're teased into expensive dinner and flowers, etc. That kind of really gets my goat a bit because I would just like to know what they originally want to do with the game, or what their plans are. Obviously they've committed to a few design decisions already by saying you'll keep your name, your identity. That's quite a big deal when you think about it. But I think I'd love to know just that little bit more. But there we go. We're not going to... It's funny because a lot of people have been asking us if we're going to play something like Warframe or equivalent. I can't think of any of the others at the moment, but probably not. I think we are going to carry on with the indie games that we play. So Space Engineers is something I've played for years and flipping years, and we're not going to change that. Watch this. I'm trying to bait the tank into coming to kill me. I'm trying to make it look like I'm hiding from him. If I could get up on the floor and just literally lie on my back with my arms dangling in the air, I would have done that just to try and get him to come at me. But this tanker is an easily spooked little chappy, and I suspect he knows what's up. He saw the plasma cannon on my shoulder and he knows what's coming his way. But there we go. So I think, generally, I just wish it would be, I'd love to know a bit more about what they're going to do with the game. I know there's so much that they can't, and I know it's interesting to think this is going to be done from CCP Shanghai. Is that right, Shanghai? Which is, again, part of the process, so, they probably don't know themselves. So there we go. But, funny times. I think we're going to carry on, as I say, with the things like Space Engineers. And I'm loving Factorio. If you haven't checked Factorio, please check it out. It is amazing. And I think if you like kind of simple games that run on a really crappy PC, then definitely give Factorio a go. Look at that. Got him in the frickin' face. Oh, that's good. Anyway, if you like kind of games like Factorio, because it's got that real kind of process thing to it that just makes it very, very interesting, then give that a look as well. But yeah, by the time this is out, I'm sure we've got Division videos up, so make sure you watch that. Open invitation, if you're playing on PS4, come play with us. The more the merrier. And let's go and have some fun, bro, because I do think there's going to be just this long time game there. I think, unlike Destiny, which did peter out, I think, when the story ended, I think because the story of the Division is a bit more developed, or at least there is one, I suspect that that's going to be something that, and I've seen a roadmap for a year, so they've already got a year's worth of activity lined up for that roadmap. Now, I don't know, sometimes you throw yourself into these things. I kind of did that with Destiny. I did throw myself into that, and we, Trub and I played that, and we were enjoying it all the way up until the point where the game stopped. There was no more story, and very quickly at that point, it's like, oh, we're playing the same map again. And I do hope they don't repeat the same maps in the Division. Again, by this time, it's already out, and this is a moot point. But I do hope that. So yeah, you watch. By this time the video's out, I'm already there saying, fuck Destiny, fuck the Division, who cares? So anyway, keep your eyes peeled, and let's see where we go with that one. Oh look, another tank. Let's go and educate him in the ways of not bringing tanks in continually. So there we go. Plenty of fun things going on. I think gaming is an interesting time at the moment. I think there's so many more games coming. Interesting technological concepts probably going to come out soon. I think things like HoloLens games. Yes, that's right, HoloLens games. Already we're pretty excited about that. All the way through to virtual reality and so on. So, you know, I honestly would say that this is the year that gaming is going to change probably more than it ever has before. So I think, you know, this is partly the decision for getting a PS4. We're going to have the best of both worlds then. The only thing we're missing then is an Xbox One, but to be honest, we've already got a PC, so we don't really need an X-bone. But I do like the thought of just having that kind of VR-enabled game. That's going to be pretty interesting. I bought myself an Alienware laptop, as I say, so in terms of PC gaming, I've got the pinnacle you could probably ask for there. So, you know, it's kind of a nice feeling. I think technology is obviously moving a faster pace. The last decision to buy and the last product to buy is going to be the VR headset. So, you know, post in the comments, what do you think is going to be the best? I obviously have always just stuck with the Oculus because I thought that probably sounds like the one that's going to do the best. But from what I can tell, everybody is raving about the HTC Hive that's linked with Steam. So that's the Steam VR one. I wouldn't probably, you know, say that that is a bad one to back either, because while Oculus Rift is obviously Facebook, I can tell you now what he wants to do with it. Facebook, that is. It's going to be much more of a social kind of, you know, popping over to see Granny in, you know, New Zealand, put your headset on, and then all of a sudden you're in the same room with her, or some weird shit like that. Whereas I think if Steam are doing a product or supporting a product, I'm on that bus as well, because Steam have done some pretty good products. I like the Steam controller, and I also like the Steam Link. Both of those products are very nice indeed. So, you know, I can say that it's probably not going to be a bad time for all, just to kind of, you know, get behind Steam on this one. But the thing is, because you're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, it's a lot of money just to spend on something that you maybe picked the wrong one. Do you know what I mean? So I'm hoping they're all compatible and linked and so on, but there is a chance that they won't be, so just bear that in mind. But, you know, I do hope that there is this kind of you know, cross-link of them all, but you know, I do genuinely get the impression there will be. But yeah, so, you know, I'm posting comments. Tell me which one you think is the best. I've heard lots of people telling me this and that is, you know, probably worth looking at. But for me, it is certainly between HTC and the Oculus Rift. Oh my God, does that guy run backwards any faster? What was that about? Anyway, so, you know, for me, that's probably the last piece of the puzzle. Once the VR headset is out and available, and people have then reviewed them, then obviously it's an easy choice, because, you know, from what I can tell, and I did read a few reviews, journalists seem to like the Steam one. So that's HTC. I like HTC. They've done some good phones. I don't have them. I've always had an iPhone, but I've always liked, you know, friends have got them and they do seem pretty cool. So, you know, I'm curious about that. But then again, Samsung are doing one as well. And generally, Samsung seem to get a lot right at the moment. So, you know, I'm kind of curious to see that as well. So there we go. Interesting times. And I think certainly this is now the time to start talking and looking at VR. It's just, yeah, they've already labelled it the year of VR. So, you know, somebody somewhere is already getting ready to kind of, you know, get these things going. Here we go, look at this. So I've decided not to kill this scout. Look at this, I'm baiting him. Isn't it fascinating? Have you ever done this? I don't know if you've ever done this. You don't deliberately kill someone and you just literally kite them and you see what they do. And look, I mean, look at the grenades as well. It's pretty funny, isn't it? I've got to admit, I've started doing that a lot lately. And then bloody gang comes in and kills them. Hercules! Oh well. But I don't know. Sometimes I think I've got to that point where I'm never really playing the game properly. I'm always trying to just cock about and do something a bit different. So there we go. Still not killed this flipping tank. I tell you what, tanks that sit in the red line drive me nuts. Ugh. But what can you do? Anyway, keep watching, because I think we will deal with that tank as we go. Boom. Oh, got a melee on him. I didn't kill him, but there we go. So, definitely intrigued to see where a lot of the game is going to go. And I think, if you're in that kind of context where you want to play VR games, you can pick PC, you can pick PS4, or so on. So, Valkyrie is going to be on both PS4 and PC. So that's going to be quite interesting as well. So, I don't know how it's all going to work and link, but I can tell you now it's going to be an interesting time to see how VR works, because from what I can tell so far, is the biggest complaint about VR is it still makes people feel ill, and it doesn't work. For long. You've got to kind of take a break after an hour, and I think just the way people are, nobody's really going to do that. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. People will want to play for as long as they want to play. So I'm curious to see what VR becomes and how it will work. I don't know if you're going to have VR shooters, for example. I think that's still a way off yet, but it's exciting. It is an exciting time. I think technology is now meeting physical things. So for a long time, technology and physicality have been completely separate things, whereas now they won't be. So, if you all of a sudden have to run in the game, and that means you have to run IRL in some weird kind of, floaty grav chair, or even an open world kind of warehouse that you go and visit and then you're in VR, whatever it is, all of a sudden the dynamics of gaming is going to change incredibly. I can't run for longer than a couple of minutes before I'm wheezy and out of breath. So what on earth would I be doing playing a game that I have to actually run my ass off in real life? And I can go for a run normally if I wanted to, so I'm not exactly going to play a game to do it. So I think that's an interesting future of a game. I can't tell you in any context where I think that's going to go, because God knows what the future will be of a product where you've actually got to run your ass around a warehouse. Sod that, brah. But I think VR won't work if you're just sat on your sofa with a VR headset on. Or will it? Post in the comments. Am I wrong there? It doesn't feel like it would work because... Oh my God, I got mellied. Gosh, how embarrassing. It doesn't feel like it will work because how would it? You're effectively going to be sat in a chair but moving a controller to move you forward. That's not terribly immersive. And that's kind of the point of VR, is it's supposed to be taking you actually there. So, for me, there's a lot of very big questions yet to be answered, and I don't know really if they're going to break that for some time yet. It makes me laugh because if you ever watch Red Dwarf, the original comedy series Red Dwarf on BBC, by the way, if you've never seen that, then, oh my God, go and watch it. It is brilliant. There's 8 seasons, and there's probably another 2 or 3 seasons coming. So it's probably one of the most funniest British sci-fi comedies. In fact, it's probably one of the only sci-fi comedies available to you. But I tell you what, it's well worth watching. And by the way, Stefan just orbitaled that tank. That's how much he hated that tank. Yeah. Anyway, so Red Dwarf did this thing called Better Than Life, which is where you basically inserted electrodes in your head and you were then transported into a virtual reality world. And it's amazing because I watched that in the 1980s. And now that has come true, or is starting to come true, with people entering worlds to escape their normal lives, because that's what Better Than Life was created for, because the future was a bit of a shit place. And they entered these things to basically become, able to do whatever they want. Millionaires, lots of women, cars, whatever your fantasies were, they would become true on Better Than Life. And it's fascinating because virtual reality, if it can just do that final step to make that kind of sensory feeling right, as I melee a dude, that's the tank driver, by the way, lol. All of a sudden you get this thing where you could start to see people just disappear, and they'll disappear into these virtual worlds. And that is also metaphysically very fascinating to think about as well. There we go, 5v8, we won. Just saying, bruh, just saying.